Reading Srimad Bhagavatam 4:28-49. Evam vilapanti bala vipine nugathapatim patita padayo bhartu rudatya shrunya vartaya. Evam, thus, vilapanti, lamenting, bala, the innocent woman, vipine, in the solitary forest, anugatha, strictly adherent, patim, unto her husband, patita, fallen down, padayoho, at the feet, Bhartuhu, of a husband, Rudati, while crying, Asuni, tears, Avartayat, she shed. Translation: the most obedient wife thus fell down at the feet of her dead husband and began to cry pitifully in that solitary forest. Thus, the tears rolled down from her eyes. Purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Just as a devoted wife becomes afflicted at the passing away of her husband, when a spiritual master passes away, the disciple becomes similarly bereft. Chittim dharumayim chitva tasyam patayuhu kalaivaram adipya cha anu marane vilapayanti manodade. She then prepared a blazing fire with firewood and placed the dead body of her husband upon it. When this was finished, she lamented severely and prepared herself to perish in the fire with her husband. Purport: it is a long-standing tradition of the Vedic system that a faithful wife dies along with her husband. This is called Sahamaranam. In India, this system was prevalent even to the death of the British occupation. At that time, however, a wife who did not wish to die with her husband was sometimes forced to do so by her relatives. Formerly, that was not the case. The wife used to enter the fire voluntarily. The British government stopped this practice, considering it inhuman. However, from the early history of India, we find that when Maharaj Pandu died, he was survived by two wives, Madri and Kunti. The question of whether both should die or one should die. After the death of Maharaj Pandu, his wife settled that one should remain and the other should go. Madri would perish with her husband in the fire and Kunti would remain to take charge of the 5 Pandava children. Even as late as 1936, we saw a devoted wife voluntarily enter the fire of her husband. This indicates that a devotee's wife must be prepared to act such a way. Similarly, a devoted disciple, the spiritual master, would rather die with the spiritual master than fail to execute the spiritual master's mission. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes down upon this earth to re-establish the principle of religion, so his representative, the spiritual master, also comes to re-establish religious principles. It is the duty of the disciple to take charge of the mission of the spiritual master and execute it properly. Otherwise, the disciple should decide to die along with the spiritual master. In other words, to execute the will of the spiritual master, the disciple should be prepared to lay down his life and abandon all personal consideration. Better think 10 times before you take initiation. What? Better think carefully if you want to take initiation, conditions. You're not going to die, you forget it. Understand? Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanam Jnana Shalaka Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Satpitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Karamam Dadati Swaparandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajim Shadvitam Shavadutam Parajanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaganvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustuta Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namarom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Samiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you for joining in our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Nice to have you all here. So here we are continue reading that how Malaya Dvaja, a pure devotee, he has departed for the spiritual world. So when he has died, because the wife is left all alone and she realized that the husband has died. So for women, the husband especially is support. So when he goes, so the system is she becomes a widow because the Vedic system is that she has no more desire to leave because there is no protection, there is nobody. You understand? So she goes into the fire of the husband, and whichever destination the husband goes, the wife will also go. Suppose he has gone back to the spiritual world, so the wife will also go back to the spiritual world. Not that she commits suicide and she become a ghost. No. Of course, if the husband become a ghost, then what we can say? And we become two ghosts. Generally, the husband, wife should follow a husband who is not fallen. A wife must also follow or help the husband to become Krishna conscious. It is not that you simply jump onto the fire, you have to also become Krishna conscious. It's like example is given Swayambhu Manu, here Pandu Maharaj, and we read what's the name last week? Dhritarashtra Gandhari, yes? She also jumped into the fire, is it not? So all of them have shown how this is a transcendental quality. Not everybody can jump into the fire, it requires a lot of strength. So because it is not very, we don't find that kind of exalted woman, so the activity has been banned in India. I think still some people do, isn't it? Yeah? Remote village they do? They force her or they just, she goes? Yeah? They all are educated, they don't do. Correct? Which woman will go under the fire? Say, let him go to hell. I'm not going with him. So you see how transcendental this whole process is. Because the whole understanding is that they know that they are not the body, a spirit soul. And the soul cannot die. You understand? So even they go, the process is such that they go along. And usually the husbands are very devoted personalities, devotees. So the whole program is that they spend their time in the forest, chanting, praying, become so purified that he becomes, candidate to go back to the spiritual world. So the wife, she didn't do anything. You never read that she is sitting down and meditating with him. Did you read that? Did you read that? Was she meditating with him? Okay, you meditate there, I meditate here. Is it something like that? Is the verse? No, she was serving him. She was what? Serving him. A torn cloth, no proper food, hair all matted, she became ugly, thin. And her job was to serve, no talking also. Did we read? Yes, no talking. They simply serve whatever they eat. And she massaged him, his legs, and he was meditating. So see how the whole program, how to become devoted. Not that we start a fight, why you didn't talk to me? I'm serving you, you're not talking to me, what happened? A fight starts, Alright, I don't want to stay with you. See how? Whole program is very transcendental, submissive. This is how we also associate with the spiritual master. I think I showed the verses, right? If the spiritual master stand, you must stand. He sit. Where is that? What? Not 10:10. I think it's 11:17. Acharya Macha Vijanayam, the next verse. 11:17. 20 what? 28. So you see here how one must be prepared to serve the spiritual master like this. No, I think there's another verse, no? In the morning and evening one should collect foodstuff and other articles and deliver them to the spiritual master. Not that he collect and keep. He collect and gives to the spiritual. Then, in self-control, one should accept for oneself that which is allotted by the Acharya. Not that you just collect and keep and eat what you like, no. While engaged in serving the spiritual master, one should remain as a humble servant, and thus when the Guru is walking, the servant should humbly walk behind. And the Guru lies down to sleep, the servant should also lie down nearby. And when the Guru is awakened, the servant should sit near him, massage his lotus feet and rendering other similar services. When the Guru is sitting down on his asana, the servant should stand nearby with folded hands, awaiting the Guru's order. In this way, one should always worship the spiritual master. See how strict discipline this is. It's not that you take a Guru and the Guru has to listen to you. Right? No? Yes? How much discipline? So the whole idea is to give up this false ego, because Jai Sri Sri Radha Madhumaya. Is to give up this false ego, which is the cause of all suffering. This false ego, because of this false ego, we are thinking that we are the doer. And because we think like that, we develop a lot of bad qualities. Lamentation, elation, fear, anger, greed, confusion, hankering, as well as birth and death are experience of the false ego and not the pure soul. So one gets into all these problems because of the identification, misidentification of the body. So one must learn how to come out of this. Yeah? So how to come out of this problem, that we have to take shelter of a pure devotee. Although the false ego has no factual basis, it is perceived in many forms as the function of the mind, speech, life, and bodily faculties. But with a sword of transcendental knowledge sharpened by worship of a bona fide spiritual master, a sober sage will cut off this false identification and live in this world free from all material attachment. So that is the whole program, is to get the mercy of Guru to cut out this false ego. And false ego can only be cut unless we take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. If there is no Guru, then forget it. It is not going to work. It is not going to. Because if you don't have Guru, then who is your Guru? Who? The mind. So our mind will become our Guru. And the mind, as Krishna says, it is the worst. Worst enemy. So if you listen to your mind, that's why we all are suffering, because we listen to our mind and we have to take many births. This is how it explains here. You can see how everything gets so much worked up. You can see here how the whole process, the super soul enters the material bodies of the created being, activates the mind and senses, and thus the conditioned soul to approach the three modes of material nature for sense gratification. Understand? This is how it works now. The individual living being, the master of the material body, uses his material senses which have been activated by the super soul to try to enjoy sense objects composed of the three modes of nature. Thus he misidentifies the created material body with the unborn eternal self and becomes entangled in the illusory energy of the Lord. This is how it works. And when he gets entangled, impelled by deep-rooted material desires, the embodied living entity engages his active sense organ in fruitive activities. He then experiences the result of his material action by wandering throughout this world in so-called happiness and distress. So he gets entangled, one body after another body, wandering throughout this whole world, sometime demigod, sometime man, sometime woman, understand? Sometimes animal, sometimes trees, like this going on, so-called happiness and distress. Thus the conditioned living entity is forced to experience repeated birth and death, impelled by the reaction of his own activities. He helplessly wanders from one inauspicious situation to another, suffering from the moment of creation until the time of cosmic annihilation. Suffering. Yeah, this is suffering. Understand? So this is how the whole thing is messed up with us, because we listen to our crazy mind. It says here, King Mimi said, "O great sage, please explain how even a foolish materialist can easily cross over the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord, which is always insurmountable for those who are not self-controlled." So here, this is the thing, we are stuck. So we need to get out of this mess. Yes? You follow? Because when he goes to explain, you cannot come out by any other means. You can only come out by taking shelter of Tasmat Guru. Tasmat again here. See, Tasmat Gurum, of course plural, Prapajyeta, surrender. Jigyasu Shraya Uttamam, Sabde Parecha Nisnantam, Brahmani, Upa-ashrama asprayam. Therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of the bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusion of the scriptures by deliberation and is able to convince others of this conclusion. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, should be understood to be bona fide spiritual master. So we must take shelter of such a, without the help of a spiritual master, forget it, there is no question of coming out of Maya. That's why today's words, if we have taken shelter of such a guru who is actually helping us to come out of Maya, then we are eternally indebted to him, lifetime after lifetime. You understand? We cannot repay him. We cannot. In fact, such a person is higher than even the demigods and all. That's the verse, right? What's that? 11:2. No, 11:2. That. In this verse you can see there's 20, 20, 21, 27. Yeah. 11 to 29. So this verse here, see how important the Guru is. It says here, Durlabha Manushya Deho Deyanam Chana Bangura Tatrapi Durlabha Manye Vaikunta Priya Darshanam. This is verse. For the conditioned soul, the human body is most difficult to achieve. Don't think you can get this body every time. No. And it can be lost at any moment. Correct? Because this material world is danger at every step. Any moment you can lose it. Correct? Accident, disease, you name it. Now coronavirus, correct? Anything can happen. But I think that even those who have achieved human life rarely gain the association of pure devotees, who are dear, very dear to the Lord of Vaikuntha. In fact, it is said, it is easier to see the Lord than see his devotees. It's easier to see the Lord than to see his devotee. Because devotee association is extremely rare. Do not think that this devotee association, you have to come to the class, please listen to the class, you know. You're going to play around with your equipment, it's going to be tough, eh? Yes? Yes? Your machine is playing with how to? Correct? Otherwise, why I am talking? You just look at your machine, no? Very impersonal, right? Yes or no? So therefore, to get the association of devotees is not a cheap thing. And now we all agree that we have indeed got an association of a very, very great soul. Yes? Yes or no? Especially devotees who come to ISKN, because you are very fortunate that you can link yourself to who? Prabhupada directly. Yes? Yes or no? Can you imagine if you cannot do that? And you have to go to somebody else, yes? And he disobeys Prabhupada, you catch his tail, then what will happen? Firstly, he has to disobey Prabhupada, you follow him, then you also disobey Prabhupada. And Prabhupada has sent a very, very dear devotee. Yes, I am sorry, Krishna has sent a very, very dear devotee. Yes, it says here. Who are dear to the Lord of Vaikuntha, Vaikuntha Priyatma. Yes? Is it not? So we have got this very wonderful, what we say, opportunity. Very rare, it says here, rare. Those who have achieved human life rarely gain the association of pure devotee. Rare. Chance in a million. Not that everybody walks in and that's it. Yes or not? You follow? It is not something that is, what is a dime a dozen, anybody can get this thing. No. So having obtained Prabhupada's mercy, I think, as today's verse, we have to fulfill his what? Mission. In fact, I saw that now 241, Ekaha Kurunandana, but I read, one should take the mission, the instruction of Srila Prabhupada as one's life and soul, but there this new one, it changed something. Is it a fact? Can you see 241? 241 Ekaha Kurunandana. This is the old one, I'm not looking at the new one, the old one. What is it, the old one? He says, purport. Vishwanath Chakravarti says one should take the order of the Guru as one's life and soul. What is written there?
Old one.
Old one. So you see how spiritual master is the basis of everything. If the spiritual master is not bona fide, then what will happen to us? Mission, is it? Yeah. It says mission. I used to be reading it, should take the spiritual master order as one's life and soul. Maybe some other places is written like that. So you see how important it is that for someone who has come down, took the ship to America, suffering heart attack, all for one reason. Why? To help us. To what? To help us. Correct? Prabhupada could have said very nicely in Vrindavan, correct? Yes or no? In Radha Damodar temple also. Have you been there? Have you been there? Yeah? Every day you see Rupa Goswami Samadhis. How auspicious to live with Rupa Goswami, correct? And he left everything just for that one reason. What was the reason? His Guru ordered him to preach in the West. Yes, and that also almost at 70 years old. I know, I'm 65, what the body is all about, boy. You ask me to take that ship, I will die for sure. Body is old. You understand? Ship is not like you want a cruise ship. Prabhupada was going on his 10,000 weight ship, and it is a matchbox. Prabhupada said, matchbox, I know how it is. It goes like this and like this, a roller coaster. I don't think I'll dare to sit on the roller coaster,
It's a cargo ship.
Eh?
It's a cargo ship.
I think it's a cargo ship, isn't it? They check your heart before you go on the roller coaster ride. I think there's a sign there. Those with weak heart, they're not allowed to, correct? Yes or no? Can you imagine? Prabhupada at 69 years old daringly took the right, suffering 3 heart attacks. Two. The third one comes, he says, I will surely go. All this he suffered for one reason. Yes, to take the life, the order of his Guru as his life and soul. Actually he said, Prabhupada said, when he read this commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti, he said, he read the line, the order of the Guru should be taken as one's life and soul. So that is the only thing the disciple should be clamoring for. There is no other purpose. Because he cannot pay the debt of the spiritual, not possible. How to repay the debt? Is it possible? It is not possible.
324.5 it says.
Huh?
In 324.5 purport it says like that.
325.
324.5.
324.5. I'm looking for this.
Purport second paragraph.
One should accept the instruction of the spiritual master as one's life and soul. Whether one is liberated or not liberated, one should execute the instruction of the spiritual master with great faith. See how it is. So, it's a test. You understand? It is a test. Just like Arjuna was also put to test. Yes? He said, no, I don't want to fight, I want to go. Huh? I better go. Why I fight, kill and all problem. Correct? No, Krishna says, no, if you surrender to me means you must carry out my order. Yes? Huh? Yes or not? That's why Prabhupada said in the purport, if you don't want to fulfill the order of the spiritual master, better you die. Is that what you read? Huh? That means there is no such thing as I don't want to do. There is no such thing. There is no what? No such thing. No, I cannot do. No, I will not do. No, I don't care. Huh? You cannot speak like this. You cannot what? Can. I don't care. Huh? I don't care. I will do my thing. There is no such word for the disciple. Yes? I think it's there, isn't it? 3:24:13, is it? When the spiritual mother order you must do. Huh? You cannot say, no, I don't care, the Guru will talk, he has got nothing to do, no. Huh? He can always sit at the temple and speak only, no, I mean. Huh? He did not know what we householders are going through with baby, children, father, mother, daughter-in-law, so many things, yeah. Huh? Sons ought to render service to their father exactly to the extent. One should obey the command of his father or spiritual master with due deference, saying, yes, sir. Yeah? Is that? 2 words in this verse are very important. One is Pitari and another is Guru. The son or disciple should accept the words of the spiritual master and father without hesitation. Whatever the father and the spiritual master order should be taken without argument. Yes, there should be no instant in which the disciple, the son says, this is not correct, I cannot carry it out. When he says that, he is fallen. The father and spiritual master on the same platform because the spiritual master is second father. The higher classes are called Divija, twice born. What? Whenever there is a question of birth, there must be father. The first birth is made possible by actual father and second birth is made possible by the spiritual master. Sometimes the father and the spiritual master may be the same man and sometimes they are different men. In any case, the order of the father or the order of the spiritual master must be carried out without hesitation, with an immediate yes. There should be no argument. That is real service to father and to the spiritual master. Vishwanath Chakravarti stated that the order of the spiritual master is again the same point. The order of the spiritual master is the life and soul of the disciple. As a man cannot separate his life from his body, a disciple cannot separate the order of the spiritual master from his life. If a disciple follows the instruction of the spiritual master in that way, he is sure to become perfect. This is confirmed in the Upanishad. The import of the Vedic instruction is revealed automatically only to one who has implicit faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his spiritual master. He may materially consider an illiterate man, but if he has faith in the spiritual master as well as in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the meaning of scriptural revelation is immediately manifested before him. In other words, without the mercy of Guru, forget it. You cannot understand the Shastra. You cannot understand the goal of the Shastra. It's not possible. And you cannot also achieve the Lord. You cannot understand that God is sitting in your heart. You cannot get all these things. It's not possible. You understand? It is not like I think I can just buy the book and read and everything will come. No. One time somebody told Prabhupada, the Sai Babas are also using your book, your Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada laughed. They cannot understand. Nobody using your book. No, they cannot understand. Why? Because they are not surrendering. You understand? Not that you buy the book of Prabhupada and you don't surrender and you read and you will become an acharya. It doesn't work like that. That's why Krishna said to Arjuna, because you are my devotee and friend, therefore these secrets are available to you. So spiritual life is based on this one point, how much we are giving our life to spiritual master. This is very important point. And of course, in my experience, I've seen this. It's been saying all over and over again the same point that I first got the book of Prabhupada. His name also very difficult to say. That I was thinking. I said, how to read this book, man, some names. I don't want all this guru business. I want Krishna. I was thinking like that. And puffed up, no? So it took me, I got the book in 75 October, I think. And took me 1 year to read that Bhagavad Gita. And in October 1976, when I finished the Bhagavad Gita, I said, I want to give my life to this person. I was convinced. I said, I want to give my life to this person. Immediately, letter came, I'm going to see Prabhupada, I'm going to go, you like to take initiation. I didn't even know the meaning of initiation at that time. Because there's nobody there, nobody around. See how Krishna arranges, where is Prabhupada, where am I, he can't come to this island. He cannot, there's no way Prabhupada can come in, there's no way I'm going to meet him, there's nothing, there's completely, I'm locked out. But even in this very difficult situation, I thought, yes, no, I want to give my life to this person. And immediately this arrangement was made, a connection. I was, of course, Jai Sri Radha. I was initiated in 1977, January. I got the letter that I became a disciple of Prabhupada. It's amazing that I got the letter. Of course, took many years to realize many things. But I had complete faith in Prabhupada. That was my strongest point. That actually saved me in many situations I have been through. So in this regard, I like to highlight one letter. I like to highlight this letter. This letter was written to a devotee called Vidyapati, who was running the temple there at that time with me in 1975. But this letter is dated 77, January 27. Dear Vidyapati, please accept my blessings, and I received your letter dated January 12th, and I have studied the contents. I am very pleased with your activities there and advise you to go on with Kirtan. You say there is a small community there taking part in Kirtan and Prasadam distribution, so try to increase it as far as possible. According to time and place and the situation you find in Singapore. You lament that you are not qualified to present Krishna consciousness properly. But this is the qualification. Hold Kirtan with your friends, read passages from my books and distribute prasadam. And try to get more people to read the books. That you are already doing. You don't need to establish a temple, but gradually get funds and organize. Hope this meets you in good health. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. So I just like to tell you that this devotee, he wrote to Prabhupada. The contents of his letter is that it is very difficult to preach in Singapore. At that time, they never even allow us to register the society. You know, we had no society, we just gathered together. Everything is illegal. And he wrote to Prabhupada in that context. He says, we can only do maybe house programs. But I like to highlight this point. You don't need to establish a temple, Prabhupada said, but gradually get fund and organize. This point here. So from 1975 onwards, of course it was a tremendous challenge. I remember in 1979 I went to register the society, I didn't use the word international, I used Society for Krishna Consciousness. And immediately I had a problem. I did not know, just by opening a temple of Hare Krishna I got into so many troubles, you know. I was visited by, you know, the internal security department, so many things. It was a difficult situation. I could not do anything practically. Very difficult. I remember, I think it was in maybe when I came back, or maybe before then, yes, maybe in 1980, yeah, maybe 1980, 81 at the time. I went to the Ramakrishna Mission, and there was some festivals. So I went there with my devotees. I had some devotees, and one man, he knew me, and he gave me a $10 donation. I was telling you what happened. So then this man who gave me was my friend. He just for the temple $10. There was another man. He saw that. He said he was the CCC, Citizen Consultant Committee or something. It's like a Singapore, some PAP man inside. He said, "Look, I saw you taking the money. You didn't give him a receipt. You collected money." Wow. And he was hunting me in the whole festival, going around me. This is how illegal it is to accept money at that time. I thought the best thing I should do is just leave the place, And I left the place. This guy was haunting me like that. That was in 1981, 80, maybe it's around there. Just to give you an idea on what kind of circumstances we were operating. We're practically illegal. We cannot collect money. We cannot do our work. We cannot, organize ourselves. There's nothing we could do. But practically we persisted. And of course, Krishna took me out of this island. I had to leave from 1982, maybe April. So I left in 92 April. Then I came back. Krishna brought me back here again in 1985, I think, maybe April or May. After Mayapur festival, I could have come back in April 1985. So from 1985, I had to organize this Singapore chapter. I had nothing when I left. Of course, I had some devotees, some temple. I had to close it down. I had to go and came back. And again, I had no place to stay. I had no food to eat. Practically, I was all alone. Of course, I'm not alone. Prabhupada and Krishna was there. So, how to get it going? It's a long story. You can write a book probably. So we crossed one obstacle after another. We got the society registered. We got the society, in this way we went on, and finally we have established our Krishna consciousness in Kelang here now. We have been here for the past, how many years? We came here in 2007, yes. Because we had very different places. We went to many places. And from 2007 we have established our Sri Krishna Mandir very, very, I would say, firmly. Last, I think in 2019, we had a Janmashtami here, which the turnout was almost 5,000 people. It's amazing. Yes? And not only that, we have our Rath Yatra, which is what? One of the top event. Yes? It is very, very popular among at least the Indian. So we have got a foothold. We have got ourselves established. Yes? From impossible, it has become possible. Because it was a big challenge, we had to go through so many obstacles, and we are determined to establish a place for Radha and Krishna. Now you may be wondering, why am I telling all these stories? I am telling you this story because I need you to help Sri Krishna Mandir to finish this one last hurdle. That is to permanently have a place for the Lordships Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan. A permanent place for them. Because here we are renting, we have been renting all along for the past 45 years, we've been renting. Yeah, of course we had a place in Mountbatten Road, to some or other we had to leave the place because it's not zone rights. So now, this is our challenge, that we want to put Krishna consciousness permanently in the map of Singapore. And for that, we need a permanent place. Of course, we had an opportunity to try to build a temple in Bordeaux, where we were the highest bidder. Somehow or other that got cancelled out. And we were looking for another place in Tampines. Again, we could not manage. Now finally we have found a place just behind our temple, which is in Lorong 27A, number 26. And the building is 8-story high. You got your laptop? Where's your laptop? I want to show. Told you, no? I want to do this, no? Here? Can you take it out? Yeah, we can sidetrack and go. Finish the class. Right, so we're going to show you what we're going to do, how we are coming to this situation. So it is after so many years of struggle that we have come to a point that we definitely want to put the Lord permanently in this place. You follow? So of course it is a struggle. I mean, particularly I took it as a challenge, and I was helped by many wonderful devotees. They all, can I help? And now I am requesting again all of you to take this as a very big service to Srila Prabhupada, especially those who have taken initiation. This is something that we cannot say no. Because by doing this, you are going to please Srila Prabhupada tremendously. You said this now, you read the letter, but gradually get fun and organize. It is written there. In other words, Prabhupada already knew that it is going to be done. It is not Prabhupada said, don't do this, forget it, leave this place, go somewhere else. No. The Prabhupada knew. Yes. And what more we can do to Srila Prabhupada to establish Krishna consciousness permanently here in Singapore. I think Srila Prabhupada will be extremely, extremely pleased with all people. Yes? Because this is the country he was not allowed to come in. How much he will be happy to hear that yes, we have got a Sri Krishna Mandir in Singapore, permanently established. That's why here today's verse, the disciple cannot say, no, I cannot, no, I will not, no. It is impossible, but of course, over the years we have already done all the groundwork, going through all this rigmaroles, but now this is a challenge for all of us to finish the job. Of course, that is only the beginning. Because once you get that, then is the preaching will become very, it will be, we can outreach to many places. Especially establishing ISKM headquarters here in Singapore will be momentum. Whole world will take it, that ISKM is not, an organization that you can brush aside. It will take us very seriously. So I need your support. It is not going to be a small task. I think we will stop the class here and we'll brief you what are the challenges you're going to get and face, and I think we should all put our heart in and do this for Srila Prabhupada. Yes? Huh? Because some of you are from India, some of you are from different parts of the world, but nevertheless, wherever we come from, it is service to our spiritual master. Correct? So alright, I will stop here. Can you come up, make the presentation?